Welcome to a Front Street Fights exclusive. I'm Matt Johnson here with Front Street Fights matchmaker Todd Carlson. Todd, we are 3 weeks away from Front Street Fights 9, August 12th, CenturyLink Arena. Before we really talk about the fights itself, overall, how do you feel about this card and how it came together?
I'm really excited about the card. We've got some really high-level professional fighters on the card that I think are going to go on and do much bigger things. And then we've got some brand new they're not new pros, but they're new pros to us. So we've got some exciting new talent to showcase the 208 crowd here, so I'm excited. And
this week, obviously, finally the full fight card got put together, the latest edition, a heavyweight bout between two guys who we saw last time he was here. Daniel Spitz was an amateur. Of course, people recognize and remember what Louis Cortez did last time he fought in the Front Street Fights cage. Talk about that fight and how it came on pretty late.
Sure. So we actually had another fight scheduled for the card that just didn't come together. So I started looking around, and Cortez I've been wanting to bring back. He came in to fight Colton Vaughn the last time he was here, and surprisingly, I guess to everybody but him maybe, knocked out Colton in about 23 seconds. So Cortez is a big, strong, powerful guy with fast hands, and he likes to brawl. And he's really the only guy in Southern Idaho other than Colton that's a heavyweight. So him, and then obviously you start looking around. Okay, outside of town, who do we get? Well, Daniel Spitz out of Spokane is really kind of starting to become earmarked for the UFC. So he's training at a UFC camp. He's a big boy. He's 6'5", 235, 240 pounds, super skilled. So I'm excited for that fight.
Let's talk about the title fight, of course. At 8, we tried to award a title. That didn't happen. We're going for it again. This time it's the lightweight title. Scott Tomet stepping in against David Castillo in what nobody should expect should be a dull fight.
Right. So Scott Tomet really is Idaho's top 55er. So that was an easy start there. And then again, you go out and you try to find, well, who's a legitimate contender. I saw David Castillo fight at RFA in Utah when I went down there and watched Ricky Steele fight, and he's super legit. He's 19-8 as a pro. That fight that he fought down there in Utah was supposed to position him for a UFC fight. So that was a title fight for the RFA, which he was winning the entire fight until the third round. He got caught in a really crazy armbar, and but he's tough. It makes me nervous bringing in these super tough guys for our title fights, because obviously I'd like to see our title stay here, but in order to get to that next level, that's the kind of fight you got to put together.
All right, let's talk about the co-main event. Of course, Matt Jones, very familiar face again. We've had him on several shows here, bringing Kerry Latimer, who we know is a guy that we've been targeting for quite a while. Finally got him on the show. How did that one come together? So Matt Jones is a guy that Front Street Fights has kind of got behind. So Matt Jones is a super talented athlete. He's 4-2 right now as a professional. We think he's got a ton of potential. The 2 losses that he's had are against high-level wrestlers. So he's gone back to the drawing board a little bit and really worked on that wrestling. I've been talking to his manager and coaches, and Matt Jones is a great guy. He's kind of like one of those purebreds. Okay, if you look at him, he's sculpted, he looks the part, he's a phenomenal athlete, he's all the things that you should be. Okay, well, when you look at Kerry Latimer, it's a little bit different picture. Kerry Latimer's a veteran of the sport. To me, Matt Jones is kind of that prototypical athlete that should go on and do great things. Kerry Latimer's been in the sport a long time, but Kerry Latimer reminds me more of the pit bull, the guy that, when Kerry and I were talking, he's like, well, who do I fight? I'm like, well, I got an opening with Matt Jones, thinking he probably wouldn't want to take it. He's like, hell yeah, I'll fight him. So, Kerry Latimer's more of the pit bull, get in there, fight anybody, anytime. The big thing with Kerry Latimer that puts him on my radar is a win over a guy named Thiago Alves out of Utah, who's a super legit fighter, RFA fighter now, contracted guy. And Kerry went down there and beat him at 145. Since Kerry's dropped to 145, he's now 4-0. So it should be a great fight. Scary to think about there. And, of course, the fight I know you're excited about. You talked about it on your social media earlier this week. Fighter you're very excited to have on, Andrew Cruz. He goes against Abraham Campos. Touch on that just real quick.
Sure. So Andrew Cruz is a guy I've been talking to for a while, trying to get on the card at one point or another. I think he's a very high-level, talented pro. We just haven't had him yet. So he's coming from Eastern Idaho, just like Kerry Latimer is. So these are guys that the local crowd here hasn't seen. He's 3-0, high-level jiu-jitsu, great stand-up. We're bringing in a kid, Campos from Oregon. And, I know it's a good matchup if I don't know who's going to win.
So that's this fight is one of those cases.
And finally, I know you and I have talked about this card was harder to put together with the recent call-ups of Jesse Brock, among other people. Looking down to the amateur card, there are some new names. There are some returning names. These are not only the future of Front Street Fights, but the future of Idaho MMA. How do you feel about the amateurs that will be displayed on August 12th?
Well, right now I really like the fact that we've got 5 amateur fights scheduled, and that's 10, and they're all pretty much local fighters. So, like you said, that is the future of the sport for us as guys are getting called up, which is what we want to have happen. So Michael Garcia is a guy that's 6-1 that we think is going to be a really good pro. So he's going to fight in this one against Robert Peel. The interesting thing with Robert Peel is he's got a brother named Chase Peel. They're both on the card and both fighting at 155. They come from a martial arts family, martial arts background. They've recently made a move to SBG, and I think they're going to be phenomenal athletes. So I'm excited about the amateur card.
All right, Todd. Well, again, congratulations on putting together what's supposed to be a great night of fights. Again, August 12th at CenturyLink Arena. And get your tickets now before they sell out. You can get them online at CenturyLinkArenaBoise.com. And we will see you Friday, August 12th for Front Street Fights 9, Castillo versus Thomas. Who's going to win the lightweight title? We will find out then.